Hello, everybody.
That
How's
was
it going?
bad. No, that was bad.
They all good.
Start it again. Hey,
Hello,
everybody. No, now we
everybody.
can't be the same at the same. I'll do it then.
It's my turn.
No, I can do it. Hey, everybody. It's Yasmin.
And Darren, right
and
here.
We are back with Co-op Podcast.
Yep.
It is 4 months into the new year, and we haven't done a podcast in like 6 months.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Like that.
And 2017 has already been pretty rough. So
Yeah.
we've got quite a few things to talk about today. I've got
Just
4
a couple.
topics written down.
I want to look at the topics.
No, you don't get to look at the toppings. We get to just go through it.
The toppings? The pizza?
I mean topics. You don't get to look at the topics, okay? We're just going to go through it, okay?
Okay.
We're going to be on I don't know, not an emotional roller coaster, but we have something kind of tough to talk about first. And I kind of just want to talk about it first and get it out of the way. Because I don't want to wait until the end. So, earlier this year, it was late January, my grandpa passed away. And so we went down to Mexico, you know.
Well, this was before he passed away, though.
Right. Yeah, we went down urgently to Mexico, and
he was in the hospital at the time.
Yep.
Essentially, the state he was in was he needed a machine to help to basically make sure that he could breathe. And, and obviously he was sedated or whatever, basically sleeping the entire time. So.
Yep, and so his organs were failing on him. And I got to talk to him while he was still plugged in. So, hopefully he heard me. He started breathing a little bit weird when I was talking, so I am hoping that he got to hear me. And Darian got to go in and see him, and he was in solitary care, so only one person could see him at a time, and we had to put on a whole robe and gloves and a breathing mask.
Yeah, it was kind of annoying because, so many people wanted to go see him, but, there were only, 3 different visiting hours,
in a day.
Visiting times, and you could go in for an hour, but you had to split that between 2 people.
It was 30 minutes, and you had to split that between 2 people.
Yeah, 30 minutes, you had to split that between 2 people, so,
And the reason why there were only 3 hours to split, or 3 visiting times, is because in the regular general hospital, there was visiting hours of 2 to 4. But this was solitary care. I mean, you had to have
intensive care.
Intensive care, yeah. So you could only have, you had to have your patient's name, and they had to be listed down on the list, and then you had to say how you were related to that person before they would even let you go in. So, I mean, it was pretty intense, and then he lasted maybe a week and a half in that state, and he ended up passing away. And it was pretty crazy because we got on an airplane and made it all the way back to Chicago.
Yeah,
and then
from San Diego.
Yeah, from San Diego. And then we got the news that he passed away. So we literally had to book flights all over again and get back to Mexico in the same day.
Yeah, we luckily got a flight that was 2 hours after we landed. But, I don't know. I mean, there's some drama that goes along with it. I mean, we could have prevented leaving because it happened the night before. He actually passed shortly after we left the last visiting time, which was 10 or 10:30 at night. And after we had left, it was a half hour, an hour after that, that he actually passed. And we didn't hear about it until the next morning.
Well, and so much stuff has happened that the story keeps changing. Now they're telling us that nobody found out until my grandma went to the hospital. And my grandma had found out that the reason why he was passing away is because his blood got contaminated because of his organs failing. something with a virus in one of his organs just like spread out into his blood and blah blah blah. And then now we've gotten the review, and now it's like that didn't even happen. And so just so much drama has happened through the death of my grandpa, right. and we're all just kind of over it. Like, I don't want to hear about it. He's gone. There's nothing that I can do, that nobody can do, to bring him back. And so
I mean, at that point, it was just, the only thing was just, it was a little weird because he was, I wouldn't say necessarily improving, but he was at least stable at that point, and they were actually moving him from being totally solitary out into more of a general area in the intensive care unit.
And then
right after that, that's when he passed. Right. So,
and we kind of feel like that's what really ultimately led him to passing away, because we don't know how they moved him. They could have literally disconnected every machine that was helping him breathe. And, you know, I don't know how long it took them to put him into the other area, and, you know, who knows. I do feel like his death was caused of or by the hospital, because he's always been a really strong and not the healthiest, but I don't know, he's just never gone to the hospital. And the time that he goes, I mean, he was told that he would be leaving, and then all of a sudden, like that night, he just stopped responding. And then he got put into, what was it?
The intensive care unit. And that's when we decided to go down there, because we knew he was sick for a while. Mm-hmm. And shortly before we had went down, he was awake. And when her grandma went to go like see him and stuff, they could talk to him and whatever. And then when, you know, everything started failing, that's when we're like, well, we got to go down there. But essentially we, you know, Yasmin kind of mentioned one, you know, okay, they're falling through the ceiling upstairs. We think possibly, you know, one, either it was just mishandling or some kind of accident with the hospital, something to do with his machine or whatever, with moving him. Or potentially his brother could have maybe given the order to just essentially unplug him.
I mean, there's a lot of things that we could speculate that could be like, that could be ultimately the reason why, because yes, it wasn't just us in charge of what could happen. You know, there were other family members that were causing a lot of drama that weren't letting us have an okay time about this. They were making it even harder than it already was. So there was a lot that happened that made this a lot tougher for all of us to deal with.
And then, you know, basically, with his brother, they found out that some people, not necessarily in the immediate family, were going in there. So I ended up became disallowed from going in there, and your brother William, since he was under 18,
because he was for whatever reason, if you were not 18 or older, you couldn't come in. If you were not an immediate family member, you could not come in. So for a while, they were making exceptions that his grandchildren, so me included, could go in to see him. And I was, even up until the very end, and I feel that even Darren would have been able to go in even towards the later days. But we just decided not to risk it anymore, because his brother just made such a big scene, and he took it up to one of the social workers, and he was like, you know, they're bringing in people who are not blood related, who aren't even immediate family members, and blah, blah, blah. And we were all doing our darnest to, like, see him and make sure he knew that we were there until the very last minute. We were all doing what we could in our own way to support. And I went in, I was donating blood. I went with a family friend, and that's where he saw us again, and he made an even bigger scene and was like, she's not even part of the family. She should not get the right to go see him. And we were like, we were not even on that wing. We're not even in that area. What is wrong with you? Yeah. So things just were not very cool. And I miss him a lot, because people who know me know that I've only got 3 best friends, and one of them is Darren, of course. The other one is my grandma, and the other one was my grandpa. And so I am very, very close to my grandparents. Unfortunately, one of them is gone now. But, I mean, this just wasn't something that we were expecting for many years. And it's just very unfortunate, and it sucks. But I don't want to spend too much time on this topic. I kind of just wanted us to talk about it a little bit because it is a very important part of my life. And one of the reasons why we do this podcast is to talk about important things in our lives. Right. So that is that for that topic.
So yeah, that was towards the end of January into like the middle of February or so. Mm-hmm. So our work, they were actually very accommodating. Mostly. Yeah. Especially for me, since it wasn't technically my grandpa, my work, they were very accommodating with, letting me be there and stay there and then let me come back and just get back into the swing of things. Mm-hmm. They were really, helpful with letting us go do that. That takes us to about February, mm-hmm. and then we just we went back in to work, into the swing of things. And I don't know what your next topic is, does it have to do with like kind of updating them, bring them up to speed with where our lives are at, or what? Or
yep, so I was about to say our next topic is career changes.
Yeah, so like I said, that brings us up to about the middle of February or so, and we just went back to work. Mm-hmm. And then throughout the rest of February or so, I was actually talking with, we kind of were, with my sister's boyfriend, Dave, and...
Cool. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm hoping that we can bring him onto the podcast because he's got a pretty cool side career that he would at one point, like us, like to do a full-time career out of it. And I just think it'd be cool to have a guest person on the show, and I think he'd be a really cool one to have. So, yeah, I don't know. I just thought I'd mention that in case he does come to the show one day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would be cool. I was talking to him, and he was thinking about a career change himself. He had a job more. Hold on. So, he had a career pretty similar to Yasmin. He was doing customer service, and he wasn't liking it. It was paying the bills essentially, just like us.
Props to all of you customer service people out there who might be listening to the show, because you know what, it is tough working a 9-to-5 grind. And on top of that, being yelled at by numerous customers all day long.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've all been there, most of the people. I mean, because most people nowadays, because it's a very entry-level job. So mm-hmm. you do it at least once, maybe twice. And unless you really like it, that's going to be it. Yeah. So, because I did it a couple of times, and then I really moved towards just doing data entry, more back office stuff. I don't want to deal with customers. So, but anyway, so his career was kind of like that, and he was looking for a change. He wanted to get into truck driving. So, and that was something that was never really on my radar before. I was like, okay, well, I would have to, get a CDL and do all that process. So I'm not going to.
There's so many trucks around us. We go to this certain Walmart, and there's always trucks there, and I don't know why it never hit us to try and think about that type of career.
Yeah, so he was just kind of talking about it. He was trying to get some information and get into it. He was talking to a couple different companies and whatnot, so he was kind of telling me. And the thing that caught me was like, oh, you can make a lot of money doing this. So I'm like, okay. So I started looking into it a little bit as well. And when he ended up pinpointing on a specific company, I kind of decided, well, it might be nice to try to do this with a friend. And with this company, they were going to help you throughout the whole process, because learning the stuff you need to learn to get your CDL, because you have to take a written test just like a regular license, and then you have to drive, and then you have to take a road test to get your actual CDL. It's just the same thing, but you just got to learn a bunch more stuff. So, we decided on a company that would help you through that whole process. And also, you don't have to pay a lot of more money, than you might have to if you try to do it on your own. So, So we decided to do that. And I started to go through the process, started talking to the company, and he had already done that too. And we decided with our recruiter that we were talking with that 1st of April, we were going to go. Mm-hmm. So we had to go out to another state. I'm not going to tell you exactly where because you could probably figure out what company it is. And this isn't a, talking bad or a shout out perhaps even to a company, because it's just a trucking company. And we had to go to another state. And we both went down there and we had to go by Greyhound. So it was a long time, at least right around a whole day of Greyhound riding and sitting around at Greyhound stations. Not the most fun thing ever. It would have been a lot easier and possibly a little bit cheaper just to fly, but whatever. So we go down there. Everything is going fine.
There wasn't even food provided. At least in airplanes, they give you some peanuts and a drink.
Right, yeah. And the Greyhounds, you don't get food, so you got to try to supply for yourself.
So
but
dumb.
It was very nice when we get down there. They have us stay at a hotel. We don't have to pay for it. They provide us with 3 meals a day. And then, we start going through the orientation and classes and stuff. And this was supposed to last for the first week of April. And then by the end of the first week, you had to pass your test, get your permit. And then starting on Saturday, because it was Monday through Friday, starting on Saturday, you would begin driving with an experienced instructor. So, as you can tell, I'm here with Yasmin right now. So I've actually come back home, and I'll get to that in a second. But Dave, he's actually still there.
Yes, so we wish him all the best. Yeah. We really hope that this works out great for him because him and Darian's sister, they have a little baby girl. So we want to wish them the very best because we know it's already pretty tough between just 2 adults to try and make a living. And especially if you want to make a career out of something that right now would technically just be your hobby. Like, we know what that feels like. So to try and go out there and get an even better job, even if it's going to be a lot more hard work, but at one point you can potentially like benefit so much to the point where it'd be easier to try and go after that career. I mean, props to him. So we really do wish him the best. Yeah. And before Darian continues, I'm just going to say he knows how upset I am because I understand that the recruiters don't have to go into details about a lot of things. But if they would just do their research and just say, okay, what are some things that could potentially just be a no-no? And then you just have to go back home because of that, excuse me. They didn't. And they didn't do the research. And that's why Darian had to come home. And we actually have to pay now out of pocket because we actually went out to see a doctor ourselves just to see what a professional thought. We wouldn't have had to do this had they asked just a little more.
Yeah. So, I haven't checked back in with Dave since Friday. It's actually Monday, April 10th right now. I'm not sure when this is going to go up. So, essentially a week after the orientation would have started. I haven't checked in on him. I'm pretty sure he's been driving since Saturday. I'm not sure where his first trip is taking him, but I'll probably check in with him soon. I'm sure things are going fine. But yeah, so he essentially wants to do this for a handful of years. He doesn't want to make a career out of this, but he wants to use it as a tool to advance him to do things that he wants to do. Maybe own some businesses and, stuff like that. Because you can make a lot of money doing this, but you got to put a lot of time into it, right. Especially time away from home. So that's what he wants to do, and congratulations to him for making it through, and good luck to learning the rest, and because he's got to drive a bunch and he's got to take the road test and pass that, and then it's onwards and upwards from there. So I came home. I left there Wednesday night. Basically Thursday morning, it was at midnight I left. That's when they were able to get me on a Greyhound out of there. So I made it basically 2 days. I didn't even make it through the rest of Wednesday because they let me know in the middle of the day. So I didn't continue going to any of my classes after that. So essentially it was a medical issue. So you have to do a drug test, background criminal test, and you have to do a DOT physical, which is a physical for the Department of Transportation. And they have to clear you with a bunch of things to make sure you are essentially, I guess, healthy enough in a general sense to drive truck. So, they check your height, weight, eyes, ears, blood pressure, all that kind of general stuff. My blood pressure was a little high when they checked it, but the nurse told me that it was probably because of doing all the traveling and the stress of everything that's happening, and she wasn't worried about it. We could have gotten it down. And as you can hear right now, I'm sick or something. I don't know. I just have a sore throat. I don't know if that's from traveling back and forth and whatnot, but I don't know. But anyways, so blood pressure wasn't the issue. The issue, originally, I didn't know if it was going to turn into an issue or not, but was my epilepsy. I had 2 seizures back around the age of 10. I'm 23 now. And I was on medication ever since that until I was 18. So it's been well over 10 years since I had a seizure, but it's been about 6 years since I've been off of my medication. And they had to request some information from my hospital where I did get treated at, and they got that information, and then they called me back into the doctor's office that they have there on site, and they let me know that they were sending me home. Mm-hmm. And basically it was because of, it wasn't a company thing, because I can't just try to go to another company, but it was a DOT or Department of Transportation rule, excuse me, for, I don't know, because they didn't say specifically, but this is a rule at least for epilepsy. You have to be at least seizure-free for at least 10 years. Check. I had that. You also have to be off of your seizure medication for at least 10 years. Well, like I said before a second ago, I've been off for roughly about 6 years. So basically, they let me know that I can try again in 4 years. The nurse that told me, she wasn't like disrespectful or whatever. I'm just shortening it. She was nice about it, as nice as she could have been. I don't fault her. She had to deliver the bad news to me. But so essentially I had to call my recruiter up, let them know that they're sending me home and why, figure out a way home. So there's nothing I could do about it. But yes, I understand Yasmin is upset because of the recruiter.
And here's the thing. No.
Hang on. Let me say something.
Let me cut in first, and then you can rebuttal.
You said something about it first already. You said you were upset at the recruiter. Now let me just say one quick point.
Okay, go ahead.
The recruiters are essentially salesmen.
Yes.
Now, that means they are not going to try to find ways for me not to go.
And I understand
can't
that.
Fault them for that.
No, I can. Because here's the thing. I understand that their job is to just recruit. But essentially, they are wasting company money to buy Greyhounds, to give you food, to pay for blah, blah, blah. Which, by the way, not only did we lose out on $100 because he had to pay, which I guess went towards transportation and food and blah, 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 even though they said they're providing this stuff. And even though your job should be paying your medical, critical background, all of this stuff, they should be paying for that. Now, he had to pay $100 and he lost out on that because they said it's non-refundable. And yes, they did put him back on a Greyhound, blah, 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 whatever. Okay? Not only, let's just say that would have been the only thing we would have lost. Okay, whatever. No. He dropped the job that he had to go for this. If the recruiters would do a little bit more research and ask and see, okay, what are the things that the DOT requires to just say no, then not just him, but other guys that went, dropped everything that they had in their life going on. And I don't speak on their behalf because I don't know what kind of jobs they had prior to going there. But Darian had a good relationship with his coworkers, with his supervisor and boss. He had just gotten a raise. I mean, and he had a job doing just data entry. He didn't necessarily have to be talking to customers. or people much. So it was a good job. That, yes, we were both looking to get out and do something else with our lives anyway. But the thing is, this has put us back at square one because the recruiter did not ask a little bit for more information.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I did forget to mention that, you know, we both left our jobs.
Yeah, we both did.
March 31st was both of our last days.
Yep.
So then I could make it out the next day.
And the reason why is because he was going to be making enough to where I wouldn't have to work anymore. And I really wanted to take the time while he was out training to try and make something out of my career. Because this, you know, I went to college to get a degree. And all that time was spent for nothing, you know. But unfortunately, if both of us have to have a full-time job to pay for what needs to be paid, I don't have the time to be trying to focus on my career. So that's why I left my job. But now we're both back to having to work.
Yeah, because I was essentially going to make a bit more than both of us combined what we were making at our last job. So it would have worked out just fine. And she would have, after I was done with my training and was able to come back, she would actually be able to come with me on all my rides after that. Mm-hmm. So we would have been just fine, but it didn't work out. Unfortunately, I had to go home, and so for the past, you know, few days, we spent the weekend just getting back acclimated into the regular home life, and then we kind of started looking for new jobs because we had planned out. We got our last check a few days ago from our last job, and I was able to pay off most of April's bills with that, but we have, just one or two bills at the end of April, and then, the start of May. You got rent right away, and then, you got some other things that start up right away, so, we got to make sure we're good on that. And we did save up some money just in case, because April was going to be a little bit tight anyways, because of the way that the company I was going to work for, did things for the month of April. But, we would have been okay. I mean, we have some savings and whatnot, but so now, we had to start looking for another job, and Yasmin actually found something on Facebook yesterday or the day before for a job opportunity.
Mm-hmm. So we went to interview to that just this morning, and we got hired on the spot because we're both really awesome, cool people, and we're just that likable.
That's pretty much because we're competent and we could hold a nice conversation. That was basically it.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I mean, whatever.
We actually interviewed together. Like, it was real weird. And she was real happy to get two people at the same time.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't always get the brightest people in there.
Yeah, and she just has to go through the interview thinking, like, I'm not going to hire you.
Yeah. So she was excited. So we did actually, like she said, we got hired on the spot, and we actually start on Friday.
Yep. So it's really, really nice. I mean, when he came back, I was trying to stay calm and be like, okay, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. However, when you're in the situation where both of us just don't have a job, all of a sudden, it's like, deep breaths. Okay, it's going to be okay.
She didn't take many deep breaths, though.
Shut. At one point, I ended up breaking down, and ultimately, I was just, like I said, I was upset that this all happened because a recruiter decided to not ask a little bit more to make sure that the candidate was going to be capable. Yes, there are people who lie about their criminal record or their work history, but that's totally, they're the ones who are just saying, if I get returned home, so be it, because I'm lying. He wasn't lying about anything. His record, his history, everything was good. This was because the recruiters...
I don't have a record.
Anyways.
You said everything was good. It makes it sound like I was honest about what I have. I don't have a record.
No. I mean, he's got nothing about his history, even with employments, that would cause for him not to get a new job.
Right.
I mean, we've both been very good about, giving our 2 weeks and having a good relationship with our employers. So I mean, like I said, there was nothing that could stop him in that sort of way. So.
Right. And you might ask, well, what if you could just go back to your old job? First of all, Yasmin doesn't want to.
Well, I mean, I know. I did bring it up to him.
I know she doesn't want to because she hates customer service.
Screw customer service.
So, I would have a feeling that they probably would take her back, to be honest, because all of a sudden, when she put in her 2 weeks, her supervisor is buddy-buddy with her. So, I don't know.
All of a sudden. It was so odd.
Yeah.
Well, and she had even told me, because I was like, yeah, if I do get another job, because I most likely would want to, it would just be strictly part-time. And she goes, well, what kind of part-time? I mean, because we can put you as part-time. And I was like, I'm talking more like I work at a bookstore for 4 hours on a weekend or something like that. And she was like, okay, well, yeah, we can't do anything like that. And I mean, I didn't want to say I don't want to do this job anymore. Because that honestly is, I don't want to. I don't want to talk to any more customers when I'm trying to help them out and they're just yelling at me and going crazy. I don't know. No. So in this new job that we're both taking, we are not going to need to talk to customers.
Right. And as for me, I mean, my boss, he told me, well, okay, look, this is what I told him. I told him that I was going to be moving out of state, which could potentially be something that we might do.
With this job, we can also do that.
With the job I was going to get, trucking, like I said, you go around
traveling
everywhere. Yeah. This company, I believe, was just United States based. So either way, no matter what, I could go probably anywhere in the United States because obviously, like I said, I had to go out of state to go to them to do all the training, but I could come back home and this could still be my home. So even though they're not based here, I can work from here. So I could work from anywhere. So it was a plan to plan way ahead where we could move at some point. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't necessarily lying. I was just...
Well, I mean, and the training was going to be out of state. So he was going to be moving. But, he essentially said that he would be moving because this is for our future so that I can be closer to my family, right. Which was the plan.
I mean, which is still true whenever we decide to go. I mean, that's right. Why I would want to go. But so that is one reason why, because I'm not like supposed to be here because I am supposed to be gone.
But things can happen, and they did tell him.
Well, they did tell me that if I ever decided to come back to Green Bay, look them up and see if there's a position available, and I could get back in there. The only problem is at this point, my team that I was on, we had 6 people. So it's a very small team, and we all have very specific tasks that need to be covered. So losing 1 out of 6 people is huge. Yeah. So they probably have that position filled already.
Yeah. They were interviewing for it before he left.
Yeah, which is good, which is a good reason why I put in my 2 weeks, because it would have been a lot harder on them if I didn't. Mm-hmm. So, and that was one thing that I was thinking about, because a part of our department, I basically learned and took over, essentially, from someone else who's still in the department. So I was feeling real bad because that responsibility had to go back on her. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is. So my position is essentially filled. I can't guarantee that there is another position available under his, management, which is who I would want to work under. So me trying to go back without a guaranteed job. I mean, no matter what, it's not. I can't say it's guaranteed because he said that he would like to hire me again. So me trying to go back to that without a guarantee, I don't know, feels kind of silly.
Right. And
so that's why I wouldn't try to go back.
Well, and if he were to go back, he would not be getting paid a huge amount more. It'd just be a little bit. And one of the things that we both wanted to get away from was having to stare at a screen for 8 hours plus 5 days in the week. And it's tough when you've got that blue light emitting through your eyes for that long. And just, at least for me, it just really sucked to have to stare at a computer and have to listen to somebody. So having to multitask made it that much more, not complicated, but it was definitely tiresome. So.
Yeah. My chair was uncomfortable, so my butt hurt all day, all the time. So that sucked. But, yeah, so we're moving on to this new job. Not exactly sure how it's going to work out financially. It is they do pay you weekly, so that'll be different to try to get into. Yeah, so that's something we're definitely looking forward to. But we will be able to, get out and around. We'll be doing, I would say, light traveling, probably mostly around, our state, Wisconsin. And potentially once in a while, maybe a great while, maybe once every 6 months or once a year. I don't know what it is yet. We could potentially be going out of state to go to another state to do some work there. If it gets too busy, they don't have enough people at a certain store or something.
Right, and what's
cool...
could
be going out there too. So,
what's cool
sort of like trucking.
Yeah, what's cool is that this company is based out of other countries too. And one of them is out of Mexico. Yeah. So at one point we could inquire about getting a transfer out there.
Yeah, I mean, and they have the company is also in Germany as well. So if we want to go over to Germany someday, we could do that. And what was the other one? There was another one in Europe.
Canada.
No, in Europe. Oh. Was it Spain?
I don't know. After I heard Mexico, I didn't hear the rest.
Yeah, she said, Canada, Mexico, and then Germany. And there's one other country in Europe that they cover. Otherwise, it's all of the United States.
All right, so I don't want to wrap it up so quickly, but we do have another topic to talk about so that we don't make this episode extra long. But so we essentially want to cover 3 topics in our show, and the first one, or not necessarily in this order, but one of them would be our personal life. Second would be something that's been on the news. And then the last one, or whichever at that point, would be to talk about entertainment. Because like our title says, we're a co-op podcast. And it doesn't necessarily have to be video games, but just as long as it has to do with entertainment. So I'm going to move on to our next topic, which is to talk about the USA's new president.
Well, but also, our personal life one usually shouldn't be a big deal.
Right.
Because if we keep up with this, we'll just be like, yeah, I had a ham sandwich for lunch yesterday. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, but if we months in between, then it's going to be a big deal. But anyways, Yasmin decided, let's talk about
new president.
Trumpy.
Yep. So I don't necessarily want us to talk about like our views too personally on it. But just how it's been affecting things. And like I told Darian, even if he was or was not my pick, once that new person is in office, all I expect is the best. I'm not going to try and be negative Nancy and just be like, nope, nothing of what this person does is good enough. I'm not going to be like that.
Well, nothing that he has done so far has been good.
Well,
even for the Trump supporters, he's lied to them already.
Yes, and I understand. But I have heard other people talk about Trump, and apparently there are a lot of things that he did say that he would do that have been done, whether we were on board or not.
Well,
but
what, the wall?
What about the wall? Nothing's been done about that.
Well, I mean, he's still working, trying to do it. Well, he didn't give up on the idea.
Right, but that he hasn't done. He has done other things, though. Which, I'm sorry, but I can't actually point them out because I don't keep up too much on politics.
He's defunding NASA, basically.
He's defunding NASA. He's also defunding the National Department of the Arts.
And also, what was it called? Meals on Wheels?
Oh, I don't know.
He's getting rid of that, which is basically like vehicles or whatever that would go around and bring meals to people.
Ugh.
And he's getting rid of that, which didn't really cost that much, but he felt like it cost too much, and he needs to spend like billions of more dollars on the military, which now, when people try to say to go against a president, whoever it is, upping the spending on military, people get mad. Because what people do is they tie military and veterans together. Mm-hmm. So they're like, oh, you don't care about our veterans? I'm like, oh no, you just give me a second here. stop spending so much on our military and spend a little more on our veterans who have already come back.
Why should we have? Why should the president be spending so much money on a military if we are not supposed to be trying to go into war?
Well, we are now.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, that should be the point. The point should be that we are avoiding war. So why do we need to spend so much money on it? If a war comes around, everybody knows that, you know, the currency is going to go up because everybody is going to have to work. I mean, that's what happened during the Depression era. That's what got us out of the Depression. So we know that the money will come, so why are we spending so much money now? Like Darian said, why not spend it on those who did serve the country, who are, you know, a lot of the times emotionally, mentally harmed, and now they have to try and go about it all on their own. I just don't agree with that. So I do believe that our veterans should be taken care of a lot more, and yet that's not always on the president's radar.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they just want to, you know, have a bigger military than China or Russia or whatever. And it's stupid. And, you know, and taking money away from, you know, like NASA and science and stuff like that because, you know, if they don't believe in global warming or evolution or whatever, and they're just like, nope, not gonna fund those things anymore, which are things that could help us still live in the future, is science. We need science to move on and, you know, invent new things and, you know, dig us out of a hole that we've dug ourselves in as a civilization, basically.
Yep.
And, you know, it's just like, nope, let's take that away and build up our military some more, which is not needed.
Well, and now speaking of defunding, I guess in Los Angeles, and which like a lot of parts in California, there are a lot of Hispanic communities that try and build a future by selling food. So a lot of illegal immigrants are here in this country and they are working. A lot of the times they don't pay taxes. However, the way that I see it is that money is still staying in the United States. They're still spending the money to go towards buying more food to sell for more customers, to keep paying their bills. Which, like I said, that money, it's all in a circle and it's going around and it still keeps circulating through the United States. So, I just, you know, whatever. But I guess a lot of the Hispanic communities that are selling food in Los Angeles, they're selling it basically out on the streets and hoping that people will pass by and buy their food. And because of that, there's a lot of police that was going around and trying to confiscate everything that they had, and then they would threaten them that they would kick them out of the country. Now, because of that, I guess it just got passed, like a bill or something, got passed for the sellers in Los Angeles, the food sellers, to, I don't know. I can't remember exactly how it works, but I guess now they do have the right to sell food on the street, so that way they can't get deported. So, right. You know, there's that's been going around since President Trump decided he was running for office. And I'm glad that there are, you know, certain types of stuff that's going on to protect illegal immigrants, because at the end of the day, the illegal immigrants are helping out this country.
Right. And also, another thing that happened recently is with WikiLeaks. If you ever heard of them, basically they're a website. I'm pretty sure they're not based in the United States, otherwise they'd be shut down already. But basically, they're somehow able to get information that is not supposed to be out in the public. They put it out in the public on their website. But basically, another thing that came out was all of this evidence that all of this time the CIA has actually been spying on us. And you know, invading our privacy in our everyday lives. And they try to still continue to deny it, but it's true now because the proof is out.
Right.
And everybody who has been saying this for the past 30, 40, 50 years or whatever, has been looked at as crazy, conspiracy theorists, but they've been correct this entire time. And it only gets worse, and it only has been getting worse, over the years, and nothing will ever be done about it, unfortunately. But it's I'm just glad it's out in the open now.
If the CIA is spying on us, there's been so many times where people, have put it out there if they're gonna do some sort of attack or something. Why didn't they stop it then? So what? They're just spying on us because they're bored and they don't want to do anything about some of the information that they find?
They can't risk getting caught that they're spying.
Which upsets me. Okay, so then what's the point?
Well, that's not their point.
Then there's no point.
Their point isn't to protect us. And they're just wasting
time, and they're not actually doing their job.
They're just always scanning around to find some terrorist or something like that, where there's not, and it's just, I don't know, it just sucks because we don't have a choice and we're always told that we're being protected, and then the person, if there's somebody who exposes this, which they're called a whistleblower, they get reprimanded for it, they get punished. That's why, that movie Snowden that's coming out, it's about the guy, Edward Snowden, who released some information because he used to work for the CIA. And that's why he's over in, France or something like that, and he's not here because they're trying to basically put him in prison for it. And some people are against him because they're like, well, he released all this information, all these other countries know all this stuff about us now. And it's like, so? Who cares that they know this stuff? The CIA is getting all up in our privacy and they're acting like they're protecting us this whole time when they're not. So it's like, why should we not know about that? So my stepdad, Turtle, he got mad because I said that Edward Snowden was right. And he's pissed, and he hates Edward Snowden, apparently. And I'm like, I don't really care because he was right. We should be able to know about that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Why is that even happening in the first place? But anyways, yeah, like I said, he's hiding because the United States wants to, punish him for it, which is stupid. But anyways, so yeah, you can't even talk about it without getting in trouble. So that's why WikiLeaks is based out of the country, apparently. So, but yeah, so that's something that's happening, which sucks. And there was something else that came out too recently that happened, but I was thinking about it before, but I wanted to make sure I got that CIA spying thing out. It wasn't aliens. It's not proof that aliens yet, even though there could be.
Well, let's move on to our last topic for today. Something that's very lighthearted. We're going into entertainment now. And today we're going to be talking about Beauty and the Beast. Now, Disney's been remaking their movies, and they don't really have a correct way to go about it. They try to go about it one way, and then they go about it another way when they remake another movie.
Did you open the window?
Yeah. You think my stuff fell?
No, I'm just hearing the curtains out there, and I didn't know that's why.
As long as my stuff don't fall.
I was going to say, how are the curtains moving if the window isn't open? There's a ghost in here.
No. So, and what I have to compare is, or basically I should say what I'm trying to say is, when Disney remade Cinderella, it was not a musical like the original one was.
Yeah,
and the original already wasn't screaming musical. It was pretty toned down for a Disney movie. Even Snow White. You just have those few songs that are very memorable. It wasn't like Beauty and the Beast. There is a lot of music in that one. Now, so in Cinderella, there was only maybe a couple of songs, and one of them I know for sure was when Cinderella was just singing out by her window, and the other one apparently was and the other one was apparently Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, which I don't remember ever played during the movie because I was hoping for that. So I think it just got added during the credits.
I think I remember her singing it.
We're going to have to watch it again.
I don't want to watch it again, really. You can watch it again.
I will. Okay. And then in Beauty and the Beast, which, yes, spoilers ahead. I shouldn't even have to say that.
Why? It's the movie.
What?
If you saw the cartoon, and the cartoon came out what?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I shouldn't even have to say
1992 or something, so...
There's really not much spoilers because
that's
Disney decided to completely do a remake of the classic.
Now, I would say 95%.
Yes, I was about to add.
They added
they did add some original songs, and they changed the lyrics a little bit of the original songs from the classic movie. And the characters are not exactly like the original classic. But it is basically a remake. Like, honestly, I was maybe 10 minutes into the movie. I was already pissed. Because I was like, well, then I could have just gone home and rewatched the original classic.
Nah, I was happy because it's like, you're remaking these movies. I want to see the cartoon that I saw as a kid in real life right now.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't ask for that when they started remaking the movies, but that they're doing it, I want that to be the way that they do it.
I mean, I did too, but I want more dialogue. They don't have to remake the
There's
whole
pretty
movie
good dialogue.
exactly as it was. Because, I mean, like I said, then I might as well just watch the animated movie and it's going to be 10 times better.
Yeah, but it's a little different.
Yeah, but...
Because it's real life people.
I know, and it's real life people that you know. Yeah, exactly. But, and like, I must say, what's his name who plays LeFou?
Josh Gad.
Josh Gad. He is amazing as this character, which he is in most characters that he plays. Like, he was awesome as Olaf. He's even better as LeFou.
Yeah, we're about to see Olaf again soon.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, I just felt like I could have gone home and rewatched this movie. I wanted more dialogue, less singing, so much less singing. And like I said, they could have just kept to, like, Be Our Guest, Beauty and the Beast, Gaston, and their original ones. You didn't need all the other songs in the movie, for crying out loud. I was like, oh my God.
Okay,
I can go home now.
That's true. Or even if this movie didn't come out, you wouldn't have gotten your favorite song on the soundtrack. Yes.
Well, like I said, yes, that was one of my favorite parts of the new remakes. It's the original music that they made for this. I like those ones more than the soundtrack that was already there.
I don't even remember the other original song. Who sang the other original?
Oh, okay, so there was Evermore by Evan Stevens?
That was the Beast.
Or Dan Stevens? Mm-hmm. Yes, and then there was Days in the Sun by all of the people in the castle.
Yeah, that song's alright.
No, it was really good. And then
Evermore is way better. It reminded me of Les Mis.
Yes, and then so many moments in that movie reminded me of Les Mis. The way that it was directed, the lyrics, and then
Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie what?
Directed it. You remember who that is, right?
No.
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, this guy too?
No.
Oh,
I was lying because it's nothing like Guy Ritchie. But you like Guy Ritchie, right? Mm-hmm. You like his directing. Yes. So that's why I was
Anyways, and then there was another song. Oh, How Can a Moment Last Forever? And those songs, I mean, Emma Watson.
That was the original
Remember when they went to Paris? Which, that was so weird. Oh my God, it was so weird.
It was stupid. Like, who cares about that?
Exactly. So there were parts in the movie that did not need to be added. They didn't need to be added at all. And then there was too much of what was already there. That they so could have gone a different direction where, yes, they could have... like, the costumes aren't exactly replica of the original movie. So, just like they remade the costumes to go more with what we're used to seeing now, and just make it look more human-like, you know? Like, nobody's gonna wear just a navy blue dress with a white shirt underneath. Nobody's gonna do that.
I would.
So, okay, Darian. Anyways, so they made it look more like somebody would wear an outfit like that in those days, and it looked magical, stuff like that. They did not have to do a play-by-play of the original. That's just my thought of it. That's why I kind of like Cinderella, but not at the same time, because there just wasn't enough singing, and in this one there was just too much singing. Well, too much of what was already there.
This is my favorite remake so far. We have, The Lion King coming up?
Which I'm not looking forward to now that I've seen this.
And they're making The Little Mermaid. Yes, I know there is a different Little Mermaid coming out. that's not Disney, but I believe Disney is also remaking Little Mermaid. And Mulan, like you said.
And they're making a Tinkerbell movie live action.
Tinkerbell. I believe they are going to revisit Peter Pan again.
Hopefully.
I do kind of hope that company that made Pan would make another one, but I don't know if they will. I did like that version.
One of my favorite Peter Pan movies. Oh, I love that movie so much.
Probably just because of Hugh Jackman, huh? Like, dude, he's the best, huh? He was Blackbeard.
Oh, shoot. No, I'm thinking about the other Peter Pan movie with the Coldplay song in the commercial.
Coldplay?
Yes, in the trailer.
Who was in
the
that?
Peter Pan movie with the blonde boy.
Pan.
No. That's the new one with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the one before that was live adaptation.
I don't remember. You remember anybody that's in it?
I just remember that they had clocks playing in the trailer.
Oh, but
Hugh
Jackman's the best, so you know.
That one was okay. I liked the random singing because that was so random.
It was modern song.
Yeah. It is an awesome movie, but I don't know. I just personally, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the new Beauty and the Beast, but it wasn't the worst movie ever.
Rate it out of 10.
I would rate it, and honestly, I would rate it an 8 out of 10.
I would rate it 8.5.
Oh, I thought you would have rated it like 10.
No, because
you sound so in love with it.
The original is 9 or 9.5 out of 10.
Oh no, so the original is 10.
So all the original Disneys are 10. I have to put it at 8.5.
Well, no,
I thought it was really good, but you know that speaks volumes because Cinderella was probably like 4 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, and like I said, I did like that remake of Cinderella, but I didn't at the same time because where they lacked a lot, they also made up for it with like the actors, but and just the costume work was really odd. It was like modern in old age. I don't know, but Cinderella's costumes were all very beautiful. They were all very on point. However, like I said, that's something we can totally speak about in another episode.
No, do not make me talk about Cinderella for an extended period of time.
Oh my god. I'm just saying, like, in comparison to their remakes, I don't know. I think it was a good movie, but it also lacked. Yes, I would not rate it. I would maybe rate it a 6 out of 10 just because this is Disney we're talking about, and they chose to go about it a completely different way. There wasn't enough singing. I don't mean to say that 3.75 parts of the movie should be singing, but it should definitely be at... Oh, I guess...
Why'd you do a whole decimal thing?
No. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that the whole movie should be sung like the original, because then you're just making a complete remake, and what's the point? But...
That's why they call it a remake.
Well, you know what I mean. It shouldn't have to be exactly word for word, but at the same time, it shouldn't lag so much of what makes a Disney movie a Disney movie.
Yeah, true. But you know what? It was good. Wasn't the best, but it was still good. But don't worry, guys. We got cooler movies because we got lots of superhero movies coming out this year. Guardians of the Galaxy, freaking the other movie. I can't think right now, but that one's coming out, and we do have another, actually, going back to Disney, we do have Coco coming out this year, so that one will be good. But, oh yeah, just real quick, Moana was real good.
Oh my god, let's not even talk about that right now. Oh my god, okay, we're definitely speaking about it.
For it. That's it.
Woo! 10 out of 10.
There you go.
No, 11, 12,
Holy
13,
Jesus.
14, 20, 100. It was amazing. It was okay. We're talking about it in the next episode.
But apparently, Dwayne The Rock Johnson can't sing.
I don't even know why people say that. I don't even know. No,
but he sounded pretty good. If you haven't seen the movie,
he was awesome. We're going to talk about it in the next episode.
I moved closer to the mic, but I lowered my voice. You move closer to the mic, but raise your voice.
We're talking about it in the next episode, guys.
Move back.
We are talking about it in the next episode. I love that movie!
Oh, Jesus, stop smacking the thing. All right, but yes, it was good. But anyways, we're going to have some cool other movies. Also, Spider-Man comes out this year on my birthday. So we got to see that. Something's coming out right after my birthday, too. I forgot. But anyways...
Nothing ever comes around during my birthday.
Yeah, well, we'll check. We'll see what's coming out in August. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it. We talked enough. Hopefully you liked it and enjoyed it. I don't know. We're going to try to get this up and running again, but probably we might just, I don't know, maybe just put it on YouTube. I don't know.
No, everywhere.
No, I can't put it on SoundCloud unless we get a premium account.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we're just going to slow our roll a little bit. We're just going to pop it up on YouTube. We're still going to have our Facebook page. We'll share it. But I think that's how we're going to try to do it.
Well, we can also just render it as an MP3 and then upload it to our Facebook page. Like that as well, just as an audio. And also YouTube. Well, anyways, right. Guys, you'll see.
Yeah, that's going to be it. But we're going to try to do better. We got, 2 episodes out when we first started, right? 2 or 3?
I think 3.
3. And then, so we're going to try to at least beat our record. Mm-hmm. Anyways, but yeah, like I said, we're going to try to do better. But yeah, so that's going to be it for this one.
And please leave your comments in our comment sections wherever you're watching this. Let me know if I'm talking over Darian too much. I need to know.
Yeah, let me know if I'm not talking over Yasmin enough or if I'm not talking enough. Because I know you guys like hearing this freaking nasty, sick voice talk. Hopefully next time I won't have this crappy voice because it's making it hard to talk and I talk for long enough and I need to stop. So yeah, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys will stick around until next time. And, you know, I hope you liked it. That's it. Just, I guess if you're watching this on YouTube, like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe so you can stay up to date. And also do not forget to like our fan page. Like it up so you can see stuff on there.
And share it.
Yeah,
please.
Share that stuff. And yeah, just do all of that stuff and have a good day, basically.
Yep, thanks for listening to Co-op Podcast. I'm Darian.
I'm Yasmin.
What did I do?
I thought
I was so excited to just close it up perfectly.
I thought she was doing a bit.
No!
So I went along with it.
And then you said, I'm Yasmin, and I was like, I done effed up.
Alright, well, that's our outro from now on, so.
Well, yeah.
Alright, bye.